Welcome to Course 2, Lesson 33. We're going to be working with decimals in this lesson. We're going to compare decimals, we're going to round decimals, we're going to arrange decimals in order from least to greatest. We have no new or additional vocabulary from this lesson. Let's start out taking a look at some decimal numbers and seeing if we can't place them in order from the smallest to the largest, or from least to greatest. The first thing I want you to do whenever you deal with decimals is I want you to be sure and line them up. So I'm going to go ahead and write these over here and line up my decimals. Alright, once I've done that, then all I need to do is take a look at them and decide which one is the smallest. Well, this jumps out very quickly out as being the smallest because it is 0.0475. And then which is smaller of these two? Well, is 0.128 smaller than 130? It is. Go ahead and fill in. Anytime you have those, go ahead and fill those in with zeros to help you see that, because it's very easy to see that 128 is a lower number than 130. So our correct order would be smallest, next to smallest, the greatest. I love it when we get it right. Okay, let's compare these two. Let's take a look at these two. Let's line them up using our decimals. Go ahead and put our trailing zero in there. Take a look. Which one of those numbers is larger? That should be very apparent to you that 120 is much larger than 12. In this case, it's not whole numbers, but the number 120 is larger than 012. Of course, we're dealing in tenths, hundredths, and thousands. Let's take a look at this one here. That's a little bit more difficult, isn't it? Not really, because if we put 0.0, 0.4, and then we line up our decimals, and then we put in trailing zeros on this top one, you can see very quickly that those are equal. Now we're starting to get a little bit more complicated. Let's compare these two. See if you can do it yourself before I do it in the video. I'm going to start by inserting my trailing zeros once I get these lined up. I'm going to throw in my two trailing zeros there. Now I can very easily see that this 200 right here is bigger than this 185, so I know that this is my correct answer. On this one here, it says round 3.14159 to the nearest hundredths. Now you've got to, obviously you have to be able to recall where the hundredths is in place value along the number line. It's right here. That's the circle to the right of the hundredth spot that we're going to round up. Is this one here. Here's our hundredths right here. I apologize. This is our hundredths, but we're going to round the 159. So we've got 3.14. Now, do we round the 4 up, or is 159? Is this right here? Is this smaller? Is it closer to 4? Or is it closer to 5? Or is it 5 out of 10? Would this be under the 5, or would it be above the 5? That 159 rounds down And so we'd put trailing zeros here, and our answer to this would be 3.14 would be our answer if we rounded this to the nearest hundredths. See if you can do these before I do them in the video. The first one, rounding 4,396.4315 to the nearest hundred. We're rounding to the nearest hundred, not to the nearest hundredths. So in this case here, we're rounding here. This is what we want to round to. What should that? Should that 3 stay a 3, or should that 3 become a 4? See if you can do it before I do it. That 9/6 is above the 5. The 9 is above a 5, so I'm going to round this up to 4,400. That's going to be my answer to the nearest hundred, is 4,400. I don't need to put the trailing zeros because that would just be silly to do that at this point because it's a whole number. So just my decimal there lets us know that it's 4,400. Take a look at this next one, round 38.62 to the nearest whole number. Well, the nearest whole number is going to be in the one spot, so we need to decide, we got to round, is that going to round up or is that going to round down? So is this number going to stay at 38 or does it round up to 39? Well, 6 is higher than our 5, so it's going to round up. So the 62 is going to round up, turning that 38 into a 39. On this one here, we're going to do some estimating. We're going to estimate the product. What does product mean? That means we're going to be multiplying of 12.21 and 4.9 by rounding each number to the nearest whole number before multiplying it. Well, 12.21, is that 2 below the 5 or above the 5? It's below the 5. So we're going to round this, we're going to round it to 12. 4.9 now, is that 9 bigger than the 5 or less than the 5? It's bigger. So we're going to round this one up. This is going to be rounded up to 5. Now we just times those two together. 12 times 5, and our estimate is going to be 60 because we have rounded these up. So our estimate will be 60, 12 times 5. Hopefully you're getting this. This should be review. Our written practice or tickets in the door are 8A and B, 9A and B, and 11A and B. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions beginning the class tomorrow, I think this should be review for most of all of you. But if not, that's okay. We can go over it in detail.